Good afternoon. Blessed to be here, and not easy to come after speakers like Anson Thomas and Pradeep, right? And Philip actually took away some of my thunder talking about excellence already, but I can't fight with him because he's a policeman, right? It's not done, it's just not done. Right, right, so I'm going to look at the topic of excellence, right? Of course, life. LIFE, excellence should have come after follow, but anyway, it's my mistake. I'm because of my schedule, they had put it before follow. When I was in IBM, when I took on one of my new roles and I was getting acquainted with the team, one of the people came and told me, look, be very careful about this particular person, XYZ, he's a Christian and you won't get him after 4 o'clock. Because he will, in the middle of what work is there, he will pick up his Bible and he will go for his Bible study. Now, as I was listening to, Pradeep's talk about, excel and how to excel in life, I was wondering, look, the type of people who, somebody warned me against, a Christian in the workplace because he was more interested in showing his religious nature than excelling at work. Right? How do we integrate faith with work? Became so that actually challenged me, and of course, my coming to know the Lord also happened around the same time, and so I took it up as one of the things to make sure that yes, when people look at me, hopefully they will say he's a Christian and an excellent worker. And if I haven't had any success in the workplace, evangelizing and sharing the gospel, it is, I believe, because people come to me and say, look, there's something different in you. What causes that difference? And that opens the door for the conversation. That opens the door for telling them that, look, whom do I follow? Who is my example? Who is the role model that I follow? And all that stuff. Right? And, as the MC, introduced me, I have most of what I'm going to talk about is there in this book and it's available outside in case you would like to pick up a copy. What I want to quickly, give you a run on the call for excellence, right? Of course, there are several places where we are called to be excellent, and one of the most common ones are the first two ones that I have listed there, right? In whatever you do, do it as if you are going to do it to the Lord, right? And that is there in 1 Corinthians 10:31 as well as in Colossians 3:23-24. But what struck me was the other one, right? The Proverbs 18:9. Just take a look at it, just think about it. It's actually a very frightening statement, right? Isn't it? He who is slothful in his work is a brother to him who is a great destroyer. So I always ask this question. As Christians in the workplace, are we interpreters of the word or are we interferers in the word? And it's a choice that we make, right? Whether we choose to be interpreters of the word, incarnation as the speakers before me put it, right? They were showing excellence. And then can we be true interpreters of the word there? And I'm going to give you a very simple formula to do this. Right? How do we do this at the workplace? And I will basically share something that I have done, and hopefully it will work for you. Right? What is it that we can do to make sure that we excel at work, that we represent, we interpret the word appropriately, we show the incarnation of Jesus Christ through the work, we integrate our faith into work, and people say that this is a good thing. It's a good thing. And so this is what I'm going to talk about. the 5 aspects of this, right? Value, vision, it's all there on the screen, so you can read it yourself. Vision, appreciation, love, upliftment, and empower. Let's go through this quickly, one by one. Of course, when we talk about vision, sometimes people will think that, look, this is for the CEO, the CXO level people. What do we have to do? I'm not at that level and all that stuff. But I tell you, it is for everyone. It is about dreaming big, and it is about driving people towards a goal. So it could be in your. So when you talk about vision, I'm going to use a broader term of vision, mission, values, and goals and objectives and all that stuff, right? So what is it that we need to do in vision, right? So if you really look at vision and we look at, basically what we need to do is to be able to create and colonize people around what we call as an inspiring vision. An example of an inspiring vision we just now saw is what Jibu said. What did Jibu say? Where is Life 2025 to be held? Yes, that's a great vision. That's dreaming big. And that's what we are supposed to have. It's not that vision that serves ourselves, but a vision that brings in, it brings in. And so, for example, if your objective is internally focused, like, look, I want to be the number 1 team in my, organization, or I want to be the number 1 player in a particular field and stuff like that. They are internal focused visions. So make sure that the vision, the goal that we have is external focused, and we are able to, look at an outside focused vision. Because if we are not having, if we don't have a vision, we don't lead people anywhere. But what prevents people from, what I have seen is there are several things that prevent people from having what we call as an inspiring vision. And there are 3 things that I want to talk about. The first one is, we look at our immediate surroundings, right? We look at the hurdles that we have. We look at the problems that we have. We look at the lack of resources that we have. Aren't we all good at finding out what we don't have? Isn't it? When we are given something, when we are asked something, right? But what does God really tell us? If you look at the story of Elijah and the widow, or Elisha and the widow, or Jesus and the disciples when he was preaching and the disciples came and told that, look, you got to send them home because it is getting late, we don't have. So in all these cases, when something is asked, what is people's reaction? We don't have enough, right? The disciples' reaction is beautiful, right? When Jesus asked, look, there are people suddenly, so why don't you feed them? People says, look, boss, are you joking? There are 5,000 of them, and to give them food, we will need to probably spend their entire year's salary, right? You want to really do that? That is when. But what is God's ask? What did Jesus ask them when they say? Jesus asked them, look, what do you have? Elijah asked the widow, what do you have? Elisha asked the widow, what do you have? And then they go on to say, whatever you have, do this to glorify God and see what God will do. Right, so the message is very simple. God is not interested in what we don't have, because He knows. Whatever we have is given by God. So He knows what we do not have already. So we don't have to keep telling Him about it. What He's interested in is, what do we do with what we have? Right? And so that's something that we got to be looking at. Right? So do not continue to look at the immediate hurdles and immediate problems and immediate lack of resources that we have, but aim high. In John 14, in John chapter 13, Jesus talks about several things after the feet washing incident, which I love because my topic is servant leadership. And then Jesus finally ends the chapter by saying that, look, all this is good, but now I'm going to go to Jerusalem and die. Right? Just imagine the reaction of the disciples, right? And so they are obviously shattered. They are shattered. They are disappointed and they are disillusioned. And that's where in John 14:1, Jesus says, hey guys, do not look at what's going to happen immediately. Do not look at the immediate problem that you're going to face. Look beyond. Look at eternity. Look at what I'm going to do when I go there. I'm going to go there so that I can prepare a room for you. And I will prepare a room, come back, and I will take you with me. That's a promise. So he's saying, look, you are going to have problems immediately. You're going to miss me. I'm not going to be along with you. But do not curtail your vision. Do not curtail your ambitions. Do not curtail your goals because I'm not going to be there for you. Do not be hindered by the immediate problem that you're going to face. Think eternity. Think long term. Step back to Luke, where Jesus sends out people 2 by 2. You remember the chapter in Luke chapter 10, where Jesus sends out his disciples 2 by 2, telling them what to do, what to go, what to do, and all that stuff. And these are all common men like you and me, right? Common men like fishermen and carpenters and masons or whatever it is. And they go and they are able to do marvelous things. And then they come back. When they come back, they are excited. Why are they excited? Because common people, they've been able to do great things in Jesus' name. And so they come back, excited. And come back and tell them, Lord, we were able to do great things. We were even able to drive out demons in your name. I love Jesus' reaction when he hears that. What does Jesus tell them? What does Jesus tell them when they come back and say that, look, we are able to do great things. We are even able to drive out demons in your name. Jesus says, sure, I know you can do that. But do not rejoice because you were able to do this. Rejoice because your names are written in the book of life. So do not be excited about the immediate successes that we might have. Do not be excited. Do not limit yourself to the immediate success that you have. Think eternity. Do not be stopped by the immediate hurdles that you may face. Do not be satisfied with the immediate success that you have. Have eternity in mind and set bigger goals for yourself. Take a case of Paul. Paul's mission was Paul's goal initially was very simple, right? When he was Saul, his goal was just to persecute Christians and put them in prison. That's all. He probably was, Pradeep's forefather, right? Police. But he was doing, catch Christians and put them in prison. That was his goal. But then God had another goal for him, and God revealed that God to Ananias and said, "Look, who is he? He is my chosen vessel." And if you go through the book of Acts, when God reveals His purpose for Paul, He clearly says that he is my chosen vessel to spread, to witness to the Gentiles and the kings. And then, of course, Paul's going through this spectacular conversion, right? I don't think any of us have got this conversion experience. I took 8 years to get converted, right? So nowhere near Paul's conversion. But Paul had this spectacular, pyrotechnic-based conversion experience, and then immediately after that, but after the conversion, if those of you have read the book of Acts, where does he start preaching? Where does he start preaching? Who does he start preaching to? He preaches to the Jews. He preaches to the Jews. And his preaching to the Jews continues for quite some time till he goes back to Jerusalem. And in Jerusalem, Jesus comes in a dream and tells Paul that, Paul, this is not what I had in mind for you, man. Come on. My plan is for you to preach to the Gentiles. What are you doing preaching to the Jews? I of course, I'm putting my own words in Jesus' mouth. That is not exactly what Jesus said. You know what Jesus said, you can read the Bible. So I'm going to give you my interpretation of it, right? So Jesus comes and tells, in his dream, Jesus comes and tells him, look, you got to go and preach to the Gentiles. And look at Paul's reaction. Paul says, no, Jesus. You can't say that to me because these people know me. These people know what I have done as a Pharisee, as a Jew. And so they're familiar with me. They know what they want, who I am. And so I am comfortable here. I'm comfortable doing my ministry here. Of course, Jesus is Jesus. Ultimately, he sends him off to preach to the Gentiles and then to the kings in Rome and all that stuff. So my point is this. As we look at the vision, do not be restricted by immediate problems. Do not be satisfied with immediate successes. Do not be satisfied with where you are comfortable. Move out of those. Set bigger goals. Right? And if you're able to set those bigger goals, you will be able to pursue excellence. Right? Bigger goals. Set the goal of conducting LIFE2024 in the palace grounds. Right? That's where you will be able to make a big difference. So that is about how do we set the vision for excellence. Right? The second one is appreciation. Let us say that you go out, I don't know, many people, none of us do grocery shopping nowadays, right, in physical world, or we all go online, but assume for a moment that you go physical grocery shopping and somebody gives you a list of 20 items to bring, and you go back and come back with 19 items, one item is missing for whatever reason. What do you think you will get picked out for when you come back? Yeah. You will get picked out for that one item you didn't bring. Isn't it? It doesn't matter that you got 19 items right. What matters is the one item you didn't bring. Isn't it? That's the human nature. Human nature, we are all experts in finding out what is wrong, what people are doing wrong, and telling them, hey, look, you didn't do this right. What we need, if we need to excel, is catch people do the right things. Go and look for what are they doing right and appreciate them. Appreciate them. It goes a long, long way. Truett Cathy, the founder of the Chick-fil-A empire, he says this: who doesn't need encouragement? And then he answers his own question by saying, only those who do not breathe. Who does not need encouragement? Only those who do not breathe. You want to excel? Encourage others. Encourage others. That is the appreciation part of it. Right? Of course, the third one is love. People always ask me, what does love got to do with leadership? And my answer always is everything. Right? Of course, we are not talking about the Shah Rukh Khan, type of running around the tree love. But we're talking about love that you show to your team members, that you show to in your workplace, right? By communicating with them, by encouraging them, by listening to them, by not using your position to tell them what to do. Right? Show love to them through those actions. Right? So that's really what this thing is all about. Assume that you've gone to a fair, a festival, right? Where there is music, there is food stalls, there are games going on, and all that stuff. And you've taken your little daughter with you, okay? Very little one. She tagged along with you. You went there. It's a happy place, so you thought she will be happy going there. And you're happy. You're enjoying it. There is songs, there is fireworks, there is music, there is things happening. It's a happy place. But you realize suddenly that somebody is tugging on your shoulder, your trousers, and you look down and see that your little girl, whom you tagged along, she's not happy. And you wonder why she's not happy, and you decide to find out. So you bend down to her level and to ask her, baby, what is wrong? And when you bend down to her level, you see that what she's seeing at her level is not what you're seeing. What is she seeing? She's seeing all the dirty feet and muck and dirt and filth, and that is all around. She is not able to see what you're able to see. So you realize it, and then you lift her up and put it on your shoulders, and she is able to suddenly, her face brightens up, and she's able to see what you're able to see. What you have done is what is uplifting. You did two things. One is you went down to her level so that you can understand her perspective as to why she is unhappy, what is troubling her. You showed empathy. And then you lifted her up and put her on your shoulders, you uplifted her. You want to show excellence in workplace? Look for people who are down. Go down to their level. Understand their perspective and uplift them. You can. And that's how you show excellence at workplace. Right? So that's something that we could all look at. And the last one is in value is empower. Right? You know, I keep talking about servant leadership, and many people say that servant leadership is an oxymoron. Right? You know what an oxymoron is? A term that contradicts in itself. An honest policeman is an oxymoron, right? Sorry, I'm picking on policemen too much. Okay, I will stop. Intelligent policeman also is an oxymoron, right? And of course, some people not George Lennon and Annie, but some other people say that happily married could also be an oxymoron, right? So servant leadership is like that, right? It's an oxymoron. How can you be a servant and a leader at the same time, right? So people ask that question, and here is my answer to that. Because being a servant leader requires you to be a leader first. And what does a leader do? A leader makes sure that you set your vision, mission, values, and goals for the organization. You are playing what we call as a leader role. Right? You're playing a leader's role at that time. But then comes the difficult part, where you step down. And say that, look, I have set the vision. You're bought into that vision. And now I am available to you as a servant. I'm available to you as a resource. Now you go and implement. When Jesus gave the Great Commission, how did he start it off with? He started off with an affirmation of the authority that he has. All authority has been given to me. And now you go. And make disciples. And I'm going to play golf. No, he didn't say that. What did he say? I am going to be with you through the end of times. I'm going to be with you always, right? So that is what, that is the real meaning of empowerment. It is, in servant leadership lingo, I call it as inverting the pyramid. Where you are a leader when you're setting the vision, mission, values, and goals of the organization, but after that, during implementation, you enable them, you help them to climb up the stairs, you help them to build the skills and all that stuff, and then you tell them that, look, you are responsible for the implementation, and I'm not going anywhere. I am available to you. I am there as a resource for you. I'm there as a resource for you. I will be responsive to you. Right? And so that's really what the empower is. So this is the value framework that you can use. Have an inspiring vision. Set an inspiring vision for yourself and for your team members. How many of you are from the corporate background, by the way? I know some few of you from IBM and others, right? If you're using SMART goals, all of you know SMART goals, ditch it. Okay? Don't use SMART goals anymore. Shift to FAST goals. Okay? Now, what differentiates SMART between SMART and FAST is, a couple of things, and one of them is, of course, the frequently reviewed part of it. You know what happens typically in organizations, right? Augie has worked in IBM, I worked in IBM, and there are several of you who have worked in IBM and other places, right? You set the goal in January, and then in December you start sit with them, start reviewing it, and people are scratching their head, who set this goal for me, right? You know the feeling, right? So that's why you say that, don't do that. have frequently reviewable goals, right? So that's the fast part of it, right? And then the second one is very, very important. SMART says, what does A in SMART stand for? Those of you corporate people? Attainable, achievable. You know what's the problem with setting achievable goals? What will you do? You will set goals that can be achieved. That's why it's called achievable, attainable goals. And so, what you will do is, you have a tendency to set your goals low so that you can overachieve it and then say, hey, I've achieved 120%, so I deserve an excellent rating, isn't it? So that's the problem with attainable goals. So don't set attainable goals. That's where the fast comes in. Fast is ambitious goals. Set moonshot goals, ambitious goals. Right? Of course, S in fast stands for specific, but T in fast stands for transparent, not time-bound. Time-bound is of course required, but transparent. Make the goals known to others. Sort of publish it for others so that others will hold you accountable. Right? It's not a secret. So those are things that you can do, right? In setting the vision and goals and things like that, right? So do that and then learn to appreciate people. And appreciate mean catching them, do the right things, love them, show love to them through communication, through constant feedback and stuff like that, right? And we have, of course, many tools that we use for those aspects of, we call it, we follow a framework called 3W framework. I don't know if you've heard about it. In case you haven't, you can talk to me about it. It's basically you ask 3 questions, right? What happened? So what? In other words, what is the impact of it? And now what? What can we do? So feedback becomes a lot more distinct. So if you love people, give them feedback, develop them. And if you love people, another thing that you've got to do is make sure that you are interested in their holistic development, in your team's holistic development. When somebody comes to you, if you're from an IT organization, if somebody comes to you and says that, look, I want to study generative AI techniques, all of you will be very happy, right? And you will probably jump from the seat and say, yes, right? Because as a leader, you know that those are hot skills that can be monetized. Your billing rate can go up, right, and stuff like that. So everyone will be interested in investing in what we call as monetizable skills. But if someone comes to you saying that, look, I want to learn photography, what will be your response? Do it at your discretionary time. Do it during your weekends. And about funding, no way we can fund it, right? So what are you communicating? You're communicating to the people that, look, you are a resource. I will invest in you as long as I can get the returns. Don't use that approach. Love them as God would love them. Objects of His unconditional love. Do not look at them as mere resources. So show that love to them. Love them as God would love them, right? And then uplift them and empower them. So if you do this, at least my experience shows that that you will be seen as excellence and you will be able to achieve excellence at workplace. And you'll be integrating work, you'll be integrating faith. We've already seen examples of that in the previous speakers, and I'm sure several of you have such examples. And so I pray that that more and more people will really show excellence at workplace, and through that draw people to you and say, look, what's different in you? And then you say, what is different in me is that I serve an excellent God. I serve the Lord who gave up His life for me, even though I did not deserve it. Praise God. Thank you.